Hey, good morning everybody, it's Mike. Thanks for jumping on with me this morning. Today I want to talk about your money. Your money. We are fanatically obsessed with expenses in this business. Everybody's trying to minimize their expenses, and I'm okay with that. But let's talk about some of the real expenses in life regarding your money. Have you read Thomas Stanley's book, The Millionaire Next Door? Now, this was written in the late 90s. Many of you might be familiar with it. Some of you have probably read it. If it's been a while, let me encourage you to reread it. If you haven't read it at all, let me put this on your next read or listen to list. Thomas Stanley's The Millionaire Next Door. And the book's full of information and statistics and examples about how typical, everyday people, not people earning millions of dollars a year, but just everyday people making a reasonable living, become financially secure without the giant incomes. How do they do that? Have you heard stories about the woman that was in cleaning services her whole life and never really made very much money, but ended up retiring a millionaire? Well, in Stanley's book, he talks about the principles of wealth accumulation, and he characterizes us one of three ways. Number one, pause. Pause, he defines pause as prodigious accumulators of wealth. Okay? Now, listen to this because I'm going to ask you which one of these you are. Prodigious accumulators of wealth. Number two, you could be an Oz. An Oz is an average accumulator of wealth, and a UOZ is obviously an under accumulator of wealth. So you have prodigious accumulators of wealth, average accumulators of wealth, and under accumulators of wealth. Who are you? Well, how do we know? Which category do I fall into? Because it's really not about your income. It's really not about your income. I'm going to prove that to you this week. It's not really about how much you make. It can be about how much you spend. So to determine whether you're a PAW, an AW, or a UAW, multiply your age. Now grab something. Hopefully you've got pen and paper next to you, maybe a calculator. As I'm talking, if you don't, grab them. Because let's figure this out. Let's have a little fun with this. Let's figure out what we are according to Thomas Stanley. To determine that, multiply your age times your pre-tax income. Okay? What'd you pay taxes on last year? Multiply your age times your pre-tax income. Then divide that number by 10. And that's what Thomas Stanley calls your wealth threshold. Okay? Now, compare this to your actual net worth. And your net worth is simply all of your assets minus your liabilities. Okay? So if I think my home is worth $500,000 and I owe $250,000, my net worth on that home is $250,000. The difference between what it's worth and what I owe. And you just do that for all of your assets. Okay? So multiply your age times your pre-tax income and then divide by 10. Okay? And how does that compare with your net worth? So Stanley says, well, pause, prodigious accumulators of wealth are 2 times their net worth. Average Oz accumulators of wealth are equal to their net worth. And under accumulators of wealth typically are around half of their net worth. Let me give you an example, okay? Let's take a young woman named Lily. Lily's 32 years old and owns her own business, and her pre-tax income was $100,000. Okay? So because she's 32 years old, you take 32 and you multiply it times her pre-tax income of $100,000. That equals $3.2 million. With me so far? Now divide 3.2 million by 10. That leaves 320,000. Now Lily sat down and made a list of all of her assets and all of her liabilities. Okay, she subtracted the liabilities from the assets, and she found that she had a net worth of $700,000. So through the wealth threshold calculator, she came up with a wealth threshold of $320,000, but her net worth is $700,000. So her net worth is 2 times her wealth threshold, which makes her a PAW, a prodigious accumulator of wealth. That makes sense? Hope you stuck with me through there. If you didn't, drop me an email and I'll recap this all to you. Stanley goes on to talk, it's important for us to find out where we are, because some of us, let's say it this way, most of us are not going to fall into the PAW category. We're going to fall into the second or third category, which means we need to make some adjustments. We need to start earning more money, which means we need to start completing our activities each day, which are going to allow us to earn more money in our real estate careers. Most of us are going to fall into that category. But by doing the calculation, it will show you where you are and what kind of adjustments you need to make in your life. Stanley goes on to talk in his book that the number one principle of wealth accumulators is not really very complex. It's something that all of us can really understand. They just simply spend less than they make every year. Watch, they spend less than they make every year. And then they invest the difference. And if you're a real estate professional and you're not investing in a product that you have access and knowledge about, real estate, that appreciates in value and generates an income stream, then you're missing out on one of the great advantages of being a real estate professional. If you haven't read Thomas Stanley's book, The Millionaire Next Door, I would encourage you to read it because it's very inspiring. It'll show you that no matter where you are in the world today as far as financial freedom, there is a path for you to get to financial security. And this is Mike urging you to go out there and make it happen for yourself today.